Hello, this is Joe Pryor with the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City. And today I would like to address realtors that want to get involved in selling real estate for investment. Now this Thursday I was a speaker on the first webinar for CIAS, Certified Investment Agent Specialist. This is a new organization that's been formed to train realtors that are wanting to get involved in investment real estate. I've been a specialist in this for 17 years and have sold almost 1,000 properties here in the Oklahoma City area. And one of the questions I was asked that I would like to elaborate on today is, if you had advice to realtors that want to get involved in real estate investment, what would be the steps that you would take and that you would recommend for them? And so that's what I would like to do. So let's talk about step one, and step one is know your numbers. Know your numbers means that real estate is an investment is more than just knowing what the house is worth. It's knowing how to analyze the investment over the life of the time that it's owned. And this is called return on investment and return of investment. Now when I started with CRS training. I also went through CCIM commercial training, and then in the first group of CIAS. And I really recommend that you go to CIAS.com because I think overall this is the best place for you to start to learn. One of the things that you're going to learn is return on investment. You're going to be able to take an investment that someone wants to make over the course of that time, and number one, you're going to show them what their wealth accumulation is over that period. So let's say you invested $50,000 on day one, and 7 years later you have $150,000 or $200,000, whatever the number is. That's a part of return on investment. It's a fairly complex calculation that I'll get into in a later video. And then the other is an annualized return, what we call an internal rate of return, where the money, as long as it stays in the investment, what is the yield? And this is good to do because if I hold that property for 7 years, and I have a 22% pre-tax investment return every year, then what I can do is I can compare that to other investments like mutual funds or tax-deferred annuities, CDs, or stocks, and say, you know, based on the risk being lower, higher on this investment, the return being lower and higher, I decided to put part of my portfolio in this, possibly into real estate. So that's one of the things that you learn. Now, return on investment is a long-term prediction. It's kind of like this video is. You know, this is going to go on for about 5 minutes. But I can also take a snapshot. And a snapshot is an instant picture. And that is what return of investment is. And this is where the CIAS Institute has done something remarkable. They've taken two terms that we use in commercial, which is capitalization rate or cap rate and cash on cash, and made it easily understandable for the residential investor. And the reason why it's good is because it's not so much a prediction. It's telling you in the first year, what am I getting back on my money? If I'm getting 15% cash on cash, I know I've got a pretty good investment because of that $50,000 that I put out. 15% comes back in the first year. And so these are some of the things that you learn in CIAS. And you're going to need this first for the new investor because they're not going to understand it. And you're going to need to make it understandable to them. And also for the experienced investor, you're going to need to know at least as much as they do about it, because if you don't, they're going to go somewhere else. So that's where I would start. That's step one. Now step two is what we always do in real estate, which is building a team. But I want to talk about one team member that I think is absolutely crucial and someone that you should have before you ever put a contract out for an investment property, and that is your property manager. Now, I've been through a lot of property managers in 17 years, and I can tell you this, 90% of them out there are average at best, and you cannot afford average. You need excellence. Let me tell you the two things I want to focus on about a property manager. Number one, if you're new into investment real estate, there's just things you don't know. And you do not have the time for on-the-job training. You do not want to make your client a guinea pig. You want to give them something that is going to be true and something that's going to be a return, a positive return. And a property manager can tell you that. My property manager tells me what the supply and demand is. He tells me what the needs of the market are, what he needs to have at any given moment. He tells me which areas are better than others. And he helps me to control supply and demand because you want rental appreciation, something you don't think about when it's regular real estate. Sure, we think about appreciation of the property. We think about that in investment real estate too. But if we've made a good investment, and if your market is improving, your taxes are getting higher, and your insurance is getting higher, and you want to protect that return on investment, and the only way you can do that is with supply and demand so that rents go up. You do not oversaturate a market. Now, the second thing that's extremely important also, most of your investors, if not almost all of them, are going to be people that have active lives. They have a regular job. They have a family. They have things that they like to pursue with passion, like golf, for instance. And they want an investment that is truly passive. They want it taken care of. If it becomes active, then they're less likely to invest with you again. They're less likely to recommend someone to you at all. And the other thing is, you don't want to be spending your time on this. You don't want to be that second call that says, my property manager is not taking care of me, because that's an involvement you don't have time to do. That's a call you don't want to hear. So get a great property manager, because the property manager is going to help you on step 3, which is accumulating the properties that you need. Now, if you're a short sale specialist, you already have one of the categories. Certainly REOs are out there, but you need to know the market demand. So let's do step 3. Now we've accumulated properties of various kinds that we know have positive cash flow and have a really good chance for appreciation. So what do we do now? Well, we match it up with an investor. And there's 2 ways to do this, and the first one is the easier way, I believe. And that is people that already trust you, already care for you, and those are the people that you've already done business with. As realtors, we always have a database of people that have bought and sold real estate over the years. Now, typically, they're our client maybe every 5 years, maybe every 10 years. But how would you like them to be a client every year? So they already trust in you. So what I suggest to you, instead of if you're mailing postcards that have recipes or reminding them of daylight savings time where everything automatically computes anyway, why don't you mail them something that has something to do with investment? Why don't you call them on the phone and say, you know, I would love to sit down with you, and I would like to show you how, in a very low-cost way and a very low-risk way, that I can help you pay for your child's college education, or I can help you build retirement right here in your own backyard with bricks and mortar, with something you can trust, something that's tangible, something you can drive by. I think they'll be interested, and that would be one place that I would start, is with your existing client base. And it's a privilege to deal with them. It's a privilege to help them build wealth through investing in real estate. Now, the second way that you should do this is naturally through the internet, through web advertising. This is how, starting in about 2004, I've got many of my clients. I've been blogging, I've been doing video, I've been posting articles, I've devoted website space to it on things like 1031 tax-deferred exchanges, or return on investment, or cash on cash, or buying the right property, or choosing a property manager, or different kinds of financing. You want to get your name out there, you want to get your geography out there, you want to show the expertise that you have, because many of the investors in the United States right now, me included, don't just invest in their own backyard. They're looking to apportion their risk. They're buying in Phoenix, they're buying in Las Vegas, they're buying in Orlando, in Austin, and in Oklahoma City. They're buying different investments. They're holding the investments for a certain amount of time and then doing a tax-deferred exchange, a 1031, which you also need to learn about, to invest in another area of opportunity. So those would be the steps that I would take. Step 1, get your education. Step 2, get your team together, especially the property manager. Step 3, find the property that is going to rent quickly and is going to give you a positive cash flow for your investors. And finally, step 4, which is matching the property up with the investor. I can tell you that after 17 years of selling investment property, one of the favorite things that I do in real estate is help families build wealth and help families build wealth for a college education for their children. It's an enjoyable thing to do. It's a rewarding thing to do, not only for you, but for them. Now, I'm going to be doing future videos to go into some detail, so I hope you'll stay with me. I'm Joe Pryor with the Virtual Real Estate Team, where we deliver traditional real estate value with the speed of technology.